Going to do a demonstration here of how to get started on the Accuracy and Precision Lab. This is the home page that you'll keep going back to as you're filling out the data table. So after you finish part 1, you'll come back and do part 2 and part 3, and it shows your progress here where you are. We're at 0 out of 3 on all of those. So starting with part 1, you do just what it says there on the screen. Drag the cylinder to the scale. That'll open up this screen where you can see on the right, it's just like a balance scale in a lab where you can see the pointer is above the 0. We're trying to balance it out to where it's pointing at the 0. So to do that, we start with the biggest increment that we have, which is 100 grams. When we move this over to 100, you can see this pointer now is pointing down. So it's past the 0. 100 grams is too much. That tells us our number that we're looking for to measure for the mass when we get up to here is going to be in between 0 and 100. Okay, so then we put it back to 0 in the hundredths, in the 100 gram increment area. Then we go to the next lowest increment, which is 10 grams. And we keep going till we get past the 0 again. 10, that's not enough. 20, that's not enough. 30, that's too much. See how it went past the 0? That tells us our number, our mass, is in between 20 and 30. So now we go down to the ones place. The number is not going to move as dramatically because we're getting closer to the desired value or the accurate value. So there's 21, 22, 23 grams, still not enough. 24 grams, still not enough. 25 grams, still not enough. 26 grams is slightly too much. Hopefully you can see that. When you're on your own device, you might be able to zoom in some more. But anyway, so now we've gotten it narrowed down to it's between 25 and 26 grams. So you can see that as you learned about in the lesson, our measurement unit here goes to the 10th place. We've got 25.1, 25.2, and so on. That means you can estimate it to the next place, so we can estimate it to the hundredth place. Okay, so here we've got, we already figured out 25 is not enough. 25.1 is still above that 0. 25.2 still slightly above that 0. 25.3 still slightly above that 0 on the right there. 25.4, it's very close, but I'm thinking it's like slightly below that 0. We're getting very close here. So it's basically somewhere in between 25.3 and 25.4. As long as you're estimating that last place, accurately, just like you did in the lesson, people could get slightly different results there. That's why you've got 3 trials here. So it's in between 25.3 and 25.4. So that's why I'm going to put my mass as 25.35. So as it says here, when balanced, type in the mass and select the notebook to add data. So we click this. That gets us to the next point, hopefully our data table, and it does. See how the data table has our trial 1 on there? So we did that part right. We got it entered. Now we're going to add about 8.5 milliliters of the unknown liquid to the cylinder. So it just starts going, and you just, like as if you were pouring it in real life, you just have to try to stop it at the right place. Since you're calculating density, you're going to be dividing at the end, so you should be able to get the density of the liquid, but you still want it to be, close to what it's telling you there. So just pay attention. You drag it to the cylinder, and then you stop it when it gets close to 8.5. So just be watching that, pouring it pretty fast, If I were doing that in real life, I would have slowed down way before that, but it's fine. We just do the best we can. So you can see I got it like it's slightly above the 8.5, but it's pretty close there. So it's so here we've got the graduated cylinder in between 8 and 9. This is 8.1. This is bigger lines 8.5. This is 8.6. So it's in between 8.6 and 8.7. You can see that. I actually think it's a little closer to 8.7. So I'm going to call it like 8.68. It's almost 8.7. And you want to have that last decimal place, even though it's an estimate. You can estimate one more decimal place past your smallest marking. Okay, so we're putting that in the notebook. Now we're remeasuring mass. Now we have a graduated cylinder with the liquid in it, so we're putting it back onto the scale. and we're going to do the same thing we did in step 1, remeasuring the mass. So we have a better idea here, right? We know it's not yet going to be 100. We don't think. I mean, we could try that if we want. No, it's definitely not. So 10, we know it's definitely going to be more than what it was before, right? Yep, and 30 is still not enough. 40 is too much. So now we are in between 30 and 40. Okay, so for that reason, we go back to the 30, and you can see it's above the 0 the way we want it. Then we go back down here, and we measure the mass in the 1 gram increments. So we've got 32, still not enough. 33, still not enough. 34, still not enough, still above that 0. 35, still not enough. 36, getting very close, but it's not quite there. 37 is getting a little bit past it, so we're in between 36 and 37. And so then you want to get it, narrowed down even more. So try to find where it gets past that spot, all right? Same way as we did before. So again, what we're looking for, because this is accuracy and precision, that's the lesson that we're doing there. So don't get too hung up, like even, if somebody else did this, they might have a slightly different answer, but it would still be right. Okay, so I'm going to say that 36.2 is still above that 0, but 36.3 is below it. So I'm going to call it 36.25. And I'm going to click my data. Okay, so you've successfully completed the procedure. You can return to the menu or select a new trial if you want to keep going with the same one and finish it, or you can go back to the menu and then keep going like that. But if you have any other questions, just feel free to reach out to me anytime. Have a great day.